Welcome to the Skeptic Zone, the podcast from Australia for science and reason.
Testing one. Yes, excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you for that lovely introduction. I'm just going to do this. Shut your ears. Oh, it didn't creak. Thank goodness for that. Thank you very much. I've come such a long way to be here with you, all the way from Berkeley, where I've been the guest of Dr. Eugenie Scott, and what a gracious hostess she has been. Thank you, Jeannie. She makes me oatmeal. Win-win. I hope you'll indulge me, everybody, before I get started. I do a weekly podcast called The Skeptic Zone, and it goes out, in Australia, it goes out on Sunday, which is Saturday here. And I thought, with your permission, I might do a quick introduction to this week's episode. So here we go. So ham it up. You're allowed to ham it up. Yes, it's the Skeptic Zone podcast, episode number 925. You're great hams, I love it. For the 28th of June 2026, coming to you live from Skeptic Zone, Oakland. You'll get paid in Australian dollars later. Coming up on this week's show, Kate Thomas with her Woo of the Week section looks at Looksmaxxing. Looksmaxxing, which is an internet subculture focusing on optimization of physical attractiveness. I need it myself. After that, you can count on Adrienne with Adrienne Hill. Reports from the recent CSICon in Buffalo. She interviews some students and some other people. Then we have movie reviews. Eugenie Scott and I review The Mandalorian and Grogu. And we also review Disclosure Day. What did we think of those? And then to round off the episode, I talk to Susan Gerbic. Hello, Susan, there at the back of the room. Rob Palmer and Adrienne Hill about the Sunday speakers in Buffalo at the CSICon. Well, that's enough for me at the moment. It's time for me to stay here and give my talk here at Skeptic Zone. While I do that, I hope you enjoy the Skeptic Zone. I bet you're all going to listen to that now, right? What a pleasure it is to be back in the Bay Area. I've been to the Bay Area many times, but this time I'm going to be talking to you about my With all the weird, wacky woo that's worth watching, it's Woo of the Week with Kate Thomas.
Hello friends, this week's Woo is Looksmaxxing, the online movement teaching young men how to supposedly maximise their physical attractiveness. And at first glance, this may not sound particularly woo. Getting a flattering haircut, exercising, treating your acne or wearing clothes that fit properly are all perfectly reasonable things to do. Women have been encouraged to maximise their appearance forever. We have makeup, hair dye, shapewear, skincare routines, eyelash extensions, injectables, Botox, fillers, and plastic surgery. Entire industries have been built around identifying something women should dislike about themselves and then selling them the solution. What is changing is that young men are now doing this much more openly. But rather than call it beauty, grooming, or cosmetic enhancement, the internet has given it a more masculine, competitive name, Looksmaxxing, because apparently moisturising becomes less threatening when it sounds like a video game upgrade. What is Looksmaxxing? Looksmaxxing means attempting to maximise your physical attractiveness. Within the community, people analyse their faces using language such as canthal tilt, mid-face ratio, zygomatic projection, mandibular development, facial harmony, and even the width of your clavicles. The terminology sounds highly scientific, but much of it involves taking genuine anatomical words and wrapping them around extremely subjective beauty standards. People are given numerical ratings and placed into hierarchies. They talk about ascending, meaning becoming more attractive. They talk about mogging, meaning being so much better looking than someone else that you supposedly make them look inferior merely by standing next to them. And they talk about genetic features as though your face were a defective machine that needs optimization. The movement broadly divides looksmaxxing into two categories, soft-maxing and hard-maxing. Soft-maxing includes the relatively non-invasive things, getting a better haircut, growing or shaping facial hair, improving dental hygiene, finding clothes that fit, exercising, improving posture, sleeping properly, using sunscreen, and treating genuine skin conditions such as acne. And honestly, much of that's just called looking after yourself, isn't it? There is nothing inherently wrong with wanting to feel more attractive, and there is nothing wrong with learning how to dress or style your hair, and there is nothing wrong with seeking proper treatment for acne, hair loss, or dental problems. Men have often been discouraged from talking openly about appearance, so normalising basic grooming and skincare does not have to be a bad thing. But soft-maxing can also include practices with much weaker evidence. The most famous is probably mewing. Mewing involves holding the tongue against the roof of your mouth with the claim that this can remodel the jaw and create a stronger, more masculine face. Normal tongue posture does matter for functions such as swallowing and speech, but that does not mean deliberately pressing your tongue against your palate will sculpt an adult jawline. The American Association of Orthodontists says there is no credible scientific evidence that mewing reshapes the jaw in the way claimed online. Doing it forcefully or incorrectly could potentially contribute to problems with the bite, jaw pain, or speech. And this is such a common feature of wellness woo. Start with something real, tongues, muscles, posture, and bone development, and then make a much bigger claim than the evidence supports. And then there's hard-maxing. Hard-maxing generally refers to interventions that are invasive, medically risky, or more permanent. And that can include Botox and fillers, hair transplants, rhinoplasty, jaw implants, limb lengthening surgery, performance-enhancing drugs, extreme dieting, and various procedures intended to make the face or body conform to a particular masculine ideal. To be clear, cosmetic procedures are not automatically pseudoscience. Botulinum toxin produces real biological effects. Rhinoplasty genuinely shapes the nose. Orthognathic surgery can correct genuine structure and functional problems. But a treatment being real does not make it necessary, low risk, or capable of fixing the emotional problem driving someone to seek it. Women have been navigating this territory for decades. We have been told that aging is a defect, wrinkles are a failure, and every normal change to our face or body requires correction. According to American Society of Plastic Surgeons figures, women still account for the overwhelming majority of neuromodulator injections, such as Botox, but male interest in cosmetic enhancements is increasing, including Botox, fillers, rhinoplasty, liposuction, and male breast reduction. So men have not invented cosmetic optimization. They have invented a new vocabulary and online hierarchy around it. And that vocabulary can make invasive procedures sound like logical upgrades rather than medical interventions with risks, limitations, and uncertain psychological rewards. At the extreme edge of hard-maxing is something known as bone smashing. This involves repeatedly striking parts of the face with a hard object, sometimes even a hammer, in the belief that tiny injuries will cause the bones to heal back larger or more defined. This borrows from a real concept from biology. Bones can remodel in response to mechanical forces. But from that, people leap to, therefore, if I hit my cheekbones, I can sculpt my face. That is not a safe or controlled method of changing facial structure. Trauma can cause bruising, fractures, asymmetry, nerve damage, dental injury, and damage around the eyes or sinuses. It is not DIY facial surgery. It is hitting yourself in the face. And when a movement manages to rebrand self-injury as self-improvement, we should probably stop admiring its scientific vocabulary. One of the biggest recurrent faces of this movement is an American influencer named Braden Peters, better known as Clavicular. His name refers to the clavicle, the collarbone, because broad clavicles and shoulder width are highly prized within this particular male beauty hierarchy. He has built an audience around rating appearance, discussing mogging, and promoting aggressive approaches to physical optimization. Reports about his content have included discussions of extreme leanness, cosmetic procedures, drug use, and bone smashing. His recent rhinoplasty has itself become part of the ongoing public performance of modifying and evaluating his appearance. And it would be easy simply to laugh at this. The vocabulary is absurd. There is height maxing, jaw maxing, hair maxing, skin maxing, and practically any other word you can attach maxing to. But the audience is often very young, and underneath the comedy is a fairly bleak message. Your face determines your worth, and other people can be placed above or below you according to bone structure. A relationship, confidence, or social acceptance can be engineered if you optimize enough measurements. And if ordinary grooming does not transform your life, the answer is not to question the ideology. The answer is to go harder. This is where it becomes woo. Looksmaxxing contains just enough truth to make the nonsense persuasive. Exercise can affect body composition. A haircut can change how your face is framed. Treating acne can improve someone's confidence. Orthodontics can change your tooth alignment. Surgery can change anatomical structures. But from there, the movement slides into unsupported claims, DIY interventions, and false precision. A person confidently measures someone's eye angle or jaw width and presents the result as an objective scientific ranking of human attractiveness. But attractiveness is not determined by one universally agreed mathematical formula. Different cultures, individuals, and eras value different features. And even when certain facial characteristics are preferred on average within a study, that does not allow us to calculate an individual person's worth, dating prospects, or happiness. The pseudo-objective scoring is important because it gives personal insecurity the authority of science. Instead of, I feel unattractive, it becomes, my canthal tilt is objectively negative, my mandibular projection is suboptimal, and I have failed to reach my genetic ceiling. It sounds like a diagnosis, but often it is an opinion generated by strangers on the internet. Caring about appearance is not the same as having body dysmorphic disorder, but some of the behaviours encouraged within these communities overlap with warning signs. Constant mirror checking, repeatedly comparing yourself with other people, seeking reassurance, fixating on a feature that other people barely notice, and believing that the next treatment or procedure will finally make you acceptable. Body dysmorphic disorder affects both men and women and can seriously interfere with relationships, work, and social life. Young people are particularly vulnerable, and repeatedly seeking cosmetic procedures may not relieve the underlying distress. And this is where I think looksmaxxing differs from simply putting on makeup or getting a haircut. It's not only saying, here are some ways you might enjoy presenting yourself. It can become, your body is a competitive asset. Analyze every millimeter, compare it with everyone else, and keep modifying it until you win. But there is no point at which you definitively win. Once your attention has been trained to search for defects, it will usually find another one. There is also an interesting gender contradiction here. Some of the same online spaces that criticize women for wearing makeup, using fillers, or having cosmetic surgery are now teaching men to do their own version of exactly the same thing. Women are accused of being fake or for changing their appearance. Men are told they are disciplined and ascending. A woman getting Botox may be dismissed as vain. A man taking hormones, having jaw surgery, and measuring his eye angle is apparently engaged in elite self-optimization. The underlying commercial model is the same. Create insecurity, give it a technical name, then sell the solution. The skincare, supplement, cosmetic, and coaching industries do not particularly care whether the insecurity belongs to a woman or a man. A new anxious customer is a new anxious customer. So my verdict is that Looksmaxxing is not entirely woo. The soft end includes plenty of sensible advice. Wash your face gently, use sunscreen, exercise, sleep, look after your teeth, wear clothes you enjoy, and see an appropriately qualified professional when you have a genuine medical concern. But the movement becomes woo when subjective beauty standards are presented as biological laws. It becomes dangerous when people are encouraged to hit their own bones, misuse drugs, starve themselves, or pursue repeated procedures based on advice from influencers. And it becomes psychologically corrosive when young men are taught that every social difficulty can be traced back to their facial measurements. You are allowed to care about how you look. You are allowed to change things about your appearance. But you're not a collection of ratios awaiting optimization. And before you take medical advice from someone called clavicular, remember, a collarbone is not a qualification. As always, you can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Prescribe or Pass, or my YouTube channel, On the Moans. And if you would like a one-on-one appointment with me, head to medicationclarity.com.au and choose a time that suits you and we can have a chat. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.
Now here's a message from the Humanists of Canada. Humanist Canada says natural doesn't always mean safe. The wellness industry is full of products that promise healing, but how often do we stop to ask what's actually in them? Join consumer advocate and science communicator, our very own Kat McLeod, for a powerful and deeply personal webinar exploring the risks of unregulated alternative medicine, the importance of scientific skepticism, and the story that transformed her from patient to advocate. This free event is open to everyone. To register, follow the link on this week's show notes. And that webinar is at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, that's Eastern Time in the United States and Canada, on Wednesday, July 8th. Again, check this week's show notes for your link for this free webinar. You can count on Adrienne with Adrienne Hill.
Hello everybody, this is Adrienne Hill from Buffalo, New York at CSICon, the 50th anniversary, and right now I'm at the poster session and it's quite full of people. And I have two students here, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves because they have a poster here that they are presenting. First of all, just say who you are and what university you're from.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Salinas, and I'm from Fresno State. Hello, I'm Wasayef Ghannam, and I'm from Fresno State as well.
And you have a poster that's really close to my heart. I'm actually a retired high school math teacher, and learning styles was something I heard over and over and over again, and I thought it might eventually disappear. Talk to me about your paper.
So we looked at the endorsement of the debunked theory of learning styles in higher education. We looked at 259 schools, and within that, we found that almost half of the institutions, 48%, included a reference of learning styles, while the vast majority, 86% of those, indicated endorsement of learning styles, and only 4% said that it was a complete myth. We as well seen something especially concerning, that R1 institutions, 77% were endorsing it, while 53 of R2 institutions.
And can you explain to us, because there's people from around the world that listen to this podcast, what do you mean by an R1 and an R2 institution?
So the difference in R1 and R2 is the research level that comes out of the institution. So we would typically see an R1 institution like UC Berkeley or UCLA creating the top-notch research.
You would expect those top-notch schools to actually have less endorsement of learning styles.
Absolutely.
But you found the opposite.
Unfortunately.
And the course descriptions don't say whether or not they're talking about learning styles in rejection or support.
Oh, that's a good point. But I don't think they would do a whole course about learning styles if they were saying don't do it.
Right.
That would be really funny. So are you enjoying your times here so far? This is your first conference, correct?
Well, we went to LilyCon, so that was an amazing experience. And so far we've only been here a day and we've learned so much.
Oh, that's right. You were at LilyCon. That's how you kind of got here, right? It's Susan Gerbic, I believe, who is a listener of the show and a reporter on the show. She kind of got you here, didn't she?
Yes, it was thanks to her and her foundation.
We are so excited to be here. It feels like everybody is so passionate about what they're doing. You can sit there and talk to them forever, and it's really exciting.
Well, I'm glad you're having a good time, and I'm so excited to see young faces here, I have to say. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Keep being a skeptic.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Hey, Sterling.
How's it going?
You want to be interviewed?
I can be.
This is Susan Gerbic's son.
I've been coming to these since I was 14, so about 21 years.
A lot longer than I've been coming, that's for sure.
I'm an old hat at this now.
Well, it's great to see you. Is there any highlights yet?
I just got in. I haven't really looked yet, but I'm looking forward. I've gone through about half of these panels right now. Some interesting stuff I've seen so far.
Yeah. So I'm standing here with another student who came to this as a result of Susan Gerbic and many people fundraising to help you get here. Can you say your name and what school you're from, please?
Yeah, my name is Tyler Woolrich, and I'm from Fresno State from California.
And you have a poster here, and I understand you presented this at LilyCon a couple weeks ago as well. And can you describe what your poster is about?
Yeah, so it's generally just about critical thinking across the CSU, and fortunately it is required in all general educational classes in the CSU.
Can you explain what you mean by CSU? Because we got listeners from around the world.
Gotcha. It's California State Universities.
That makes sense. Carry on. What did you find?
Before we get into it, we had this general understanding that critical thinking can be broadly defined as a objective, maybe reflective process to analyzing and evaluating information. And before this, we would kind of like ask people, hey, what is your understanding of critical thinking? And we actually found that a lot of people kind of defined it differently. And we wanted to look across the CSU, and we found 22 campuses and 238 distinct courses that taught critical thinking. And we actually found through the learning outcomes that is posted through the schools, as well as the course descriptions, we found about 6 different approaches to information. But we have philosophical approach, scientific approach, info literacy approach, rhetorical approach, critical theory approach, and psychological approach. The philosophical approach is definitely heavy in critical thinking, and we found that across the CSU, about 95% of the CSU campuses utilize a philosophical approach, and 60% of course descriptions utilize the philosophical approach. And I mean, they all have different definitions.
Yeah, I was just noticing they're quite different, because maybe you could go through exactly what you mean. I think most people know what a philosophical approach would be, but go through a couple of your favorites here.
Yeah, so my favorite is definitely the scientific approach. It's focusing more on evaluating evidence as well as testing the evidence. Another one of my favorites is info literacy. Reason why is because I think it's a growing need for information literacy. I think that our climate, you go on social media and you just find so much misinformation and disinformation out there. That one focuses on more about evaluating the credibility of these sources. Propaganda, fake news, and AI is booming right now. Yes. And I definitely think that we should be giving our students the right skill sets to navigate their personal, academic, and professional life.
Yeah, well said. And about 20% of the courses had that in their description, correct?
Yeah, only about 20%. A lot of the critical thinking classes focus more on evaluating arguments, and I really like this research I did because I think it also opens a lot more doors to maybe see which one might be the best approach.
Or even what we need to do more of, like that information literacy approach. I think 20%, as you said, is too low. We need it to be much higher.
I think so, yes. And then even 10% of these courses, they didn't fit into any of our categories. And this might have been due to either them just throwing it in there without even defining it, or they just didn't fit our coding.
I'm thinking that the reason that you did this research is because it's a stated goal of educators. Since when?
1997.
Yeah, so this is why it's important to look at, because just stating that you have critical thinking in your curriculum might not really be helping critical thinking.
Yes.
Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
I don't think so. I mean, I think this is just a kind of illuminating what is just being taught, and I think looking at this might stir up some ideas about what we might want to do in the future. I definitely think critical thinking should be more emphasized by schooling. I think we should put more energy and focus into how could we best teach our students and how could we best prepare them for their life. That's what college is all about.
Exactly. And what are your thoughts about this conference in particular? I mean, it just has barely started, but what are your thoughts so far?
I mean, so far, I feel very welcomed, and I'm very excited because all these wonderful people are all coming together, and this is definitely a huge first-time experience for me. I mean, just the sheer amount of information I'm seeing, it's very wonderful. I'm barely even scratching the surface here since I just started.
Well, enjoy the rest of the conference, and I'm sure we'll see you around some more.
Thank you so much.
Right now, I am standing in the lobby just outside of the room where all the speakers are, usually. Right now, we're taking a little break just before the gala dinner. And I have with me
Suleta
and
Alejandro Borgo from Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Yes, and you gave a little bit of a talk today to all of us, which was very interesting. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, I gave a presentation about my development and career on the paranormal investigation.
And you have a pretty important job keeping people informed in Argentina because you publish a very important magazine.
Yes, I am editor of Pensar magazine that is published by the CFI in Spanish, and we are trying to spread the word of skepticism, also the subjects that are written on the free inquiry. For example, it's a mixture. It's not skeptic for one side and religion on the other side. It's a mixture.
Okay, unlike CFI in the U.S., they split it into two. You keep them together in the same magazine.
Yes.
If I understand correctly, not only do you do that, it used to be almost all Spanish, but now there's different languages as well? You have articles from people around the world sometimes?
Yes. I got articles in English, in Portuguese, in Spanish, and that's all. And I wrote articles for the Skeptical Inquirer and the Free Inquiry.
I recognize your name. I just didn't recognize who you were. So it's really nice to meet you finally in person.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to know you.
Thank you. And your talk was great. I really enjoyed it. Richard kept you in order. Katie, we've known each other for a little while, I think. Did we meet at a past CFI?
I can't remember if we met at the last. So I've only been to one SciCon before this. It was 2024. We might have crossed paths then, though.
I think we have. We must have. If not, we're certainly Facebook friends.
We know each other on the internet, therefore we actually know each other in real life. Yeah.
And you are going to be doing a talk tomorrow, correct? What is that about?
Yeah, I am doing a talk tomorrow on the importance of mentoring the next generation of skeptics and why it's so important that we continue to grow our movement beyond what we already have. Because what we already have is great, but in order for our movement to survive, we really need to start focusing on the youth contingent.
And maybe this is confirmation bias, but it feels to me like from the start when I first started coming to these in 2018, I think it was, there's a lot more young people. That's my perception. So you can imagine how much worse it was.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I think it's better than it was even the first time that I came now, but I think we still have a lot of work to do. And it's not that we aren't getting better, but we still have so much work to do. And I think that there's some missing infrastructure that there are some people that are working on. Shout out to Bertha Vasquez. She's doing some great work. Melanie Tracy King doing some great work. And
Rodney Schmaltz, I'll add in there.
Yes, please. I think there are some people that are doing some great work, but there are some other opportunities, I think, for everybody to be involved. And so you don't have to be a science communicator. You don't need to be directly involved in CFI. You can just kind of be a skeptic and be part of the community and be involved in trying to mentor people and bring them into the folds.
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to your talk tomorrow because you're doing it with another famous person. Who's that?
Dan Wilson of Debunk the Funk fame. I know, I am doing it with him. I'm very excited to hear him speak, and he's got some great YouTube videos. So if people don't know Dan Wilson, Debunk the Funk, so good.
I agree. So nice to meet you in person.
Yes, you too. Thank you.
We are looking for young people to involve in skepticism.
All around the world.
So, if it is not possible, we are not going anywhere. I cannot return to my 20s.
What? It hasn't been discovered yet? But what about Brian Johnson? Isn't that what he's trying to do? Do you guys know Brian Johnson?
Yeah, sure do. It is what he is trying to do. The biohacking. I believe he is a bee in a lot of our bonnets. No, you can't reverse aging. So now we just have to do the hard work of recruiting people instead of trying to turn back the clock, which, don't get me wrong, I'm also interested in. But I think that we should just be recruiting people the good old-fashioned way.
I think so. So good point. Yeah, we're not getting any younger. We need to recruit them, and Brian Johnson's methods do not work.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to know you.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you. Nice to hang out with everybody.
Thank you.
This is Adrienne Hill signing off from CSICon in Buffalo.
Yes, we are driving a car in the Bay Area, Eugenie Scott. We're zooming along on the freeway near Oakland. We're heading...
Wait. I am driving my Prius. I am a little old lady in a Prius, and there's no way that I am zooming. I mean, I'm even well below the speed limit, but at any rate, we are making progress at a deliberate speed, not to waste gasoline in my Prius plug-in.
I'm using artistic license, Jeannie. This is artistic. We are zooming along the freeway. I'm trying to paint a picture in the mind of the listener. Look, there's a bear on the side of the road there, and there's a squirrel going up the tree, and is that a UFO in the sky? That's what I'm trying to do.
Speaking of UFOs, funny you should mention.
We're going to be talking about movies. This is a movie review, 2 movies in fact today. As we're going to go over the Bay Bridge. Is that where we're heading,
nope.
Jeannie?
We're gonna go down the. We're gonna stay here in the East Bay and just. We're not gonna go over the bridge. Just that. This is not a travelogue. This is merely. We are recording this. We are recording this review for your podcast on the way to do an errand.
Yes.
And this is just a convenient time to do it. So the errand is going to keep us on the East Bay, although I did get a request from the household that if we passed a Costco, we should check and see if they have Tim Tams, but that's a side issue.
There's another story. In fact, I'll tell it. Costco in the United States are selling Tim Tams cheaper than Costco's in Australia or supermarkets in Australia. This is a scandal. That's a story for another day. Now, Eugenie, we saw in the last week, 2 movies, both of the science fiction flavor. Let's talk briefly about the first one, which we absolutely adored, which was The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah, we have plebeian taste, what can I say? But I do like a movie with heart. And for all you can say about the explosions and chases and unrealistic, etc., about the whole Star Wars canon, there there is heart, especially in the Mandalorian series, because you got this kind of gruff guy who's totally badass and just cleans the room just by looking at it, so to speak. All the bad guys cower underneath the tables. But at the same time, he's got this little son, treats him like a son, this little, creature that is not his species at all, and he's very protective of it. So there's a sweetness to the Mandalorian series of Star Wars movies that I like. But then I have very poor taste in movies. I pretty much like them all.
I enjoyed it immensely. It was endless fights and chases followed by a fight and a chase and this part of the plot, and I thought it was really a great popcorn movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I would give The Mandalorian and Grogu maybe 3.5 to 4 out of 5. I thought it was terrific.
Yeah, I'd go along with that. It was fun. Not as many. Well, I wasn't looking for plot holes, but because they're fairly simple stories, and you're not really looking for plot a whole lot because they are a lot of spectacle. It hangs together to me. It's in the world of in the universe of Star Wars. This is plausible if you just suspend judgment about traveling from star system to star system and all that stuff that is not going to work scientifically.
Speaking of traveling from star system to star system, which is not going to work scientifically, the next movie we saw a few days later was Disclosure Day, the big one the latest one from Steven Spielberg. And I'm glad I didn't have any spoilers, so we won't give any spoilers in this little review. And I ultimately, and after a lot of thought, I must say I enjoyed it for various reasons, although I was subconsciously maybe trying to compare it to Close Encounters, which I think is a completely different movie, and I think it made a bigger impact in its day, Close Encounters. What was your impressions, Jeannie?
Oh, I think, we won't know what the total impact of Disclosure Day is because it's just out. It's certainly had a slower start than Close Encounters. And Close Encounters was genre creating in many respects. I mean, there was just so much going on in that. And talk about a movie with heart, right? Yeah. There were so many things going on in that. We ought to watch that again, you know that? That was really such a good movie. Maybe we ought to have while you're here, we ought to have,
Whoa. We are on the freeway, folks, and we're seeing some interesting driving skills by Californian drivers.
Well, creative driving occurs in any community, and we just saw some real creative driving. We were not in danger, listeners. This is, after all, the pokey little Prius in the far right-hand lane, being driven by the little old gray-haired lady, so they're just totally ignoring me, and that's just fine. But there are people who are zipping along here who probably should reconsider, but we digress. No, as to comparing the two, there's a lot more going on in Close Encounters. But one of the things that I think we skeptics are particularly interested in with the Disclosure Day movie is the conspiracy aspect. Because, of course, as skeptics, we're very interested in conspiracies, aren't we? And this is something that is a major feature of this movie. Spielberg has done some interviews, and he himself is a believer that there is something out there, there is extraterrestrial visitation. I haven't heard him say in any interview, yes, they've been here, and yes, some people have interacted with them, which is a common trope with E.T. type movies. But he is a believer, and, that's fine. But the conspiracy theme is much stronger in this movie than it was in Close Encounters. In E.T., you also had a conspiratorial kind of theme running through it. So this is not something new in Spielberg movies. But in Disclosure Day, this is not really a spoiler because it's kind of the setup, and then adventure takes place thereafter. But there is this shadowy organization that is keeping from the public knowledge that there has been contact between humans and aliens, and the overall theme of the movie and the plot of the movie has to do with exposing that, which is not a spoiler because the name of the movie is Disclosure Day. So, that's not that we're not spoiling it for anybody. I enjoyed the movie very much. I was perfectly happy to just sit back and just immerse myself in the characters who are very likable. It's very well acted, I thought.
Oh, yeah. I did enjoy the performances very much. And I said to you afterwards, after a little bit of thought, I thought it had a lot of aspects of a spy thriller. The goodies running away from the evil men in black, so to speak. And a lot of them were dressed in black, as I seem to remember from the movie. And I'm always happy to suspend my disbelief when it comes to science fiction movies. That's why I enjoy the Star Wars movies so much and all the rest of them. But I had to let my skepticism show through and a giggle or two when certain very well-known tropes to skeptics were shown on the screen. And I thought, oh, there's that one and there's that one. But you know what did I expect? What did I expect? But as I say, ultimately, okay, I enjoyed it. I must say, I think if I was to compare it to Close Encounters again, I think Close Encounters was the better movie. For me, I think so.
I suspect the people whose business it is to critique and really think and be thoughtful about movies and their role, etc., would probably agree with you. There's certainly many more layers of plot and character and relationships among people in Close Encounters. Disclosure Day is simpler in that sense, but the relationships among the people are important and move the plot along, such as it is. It is an adventure story. It's a race to see whether the good guys will win or the bad guys will win, or the bad guys will thwart their ability and so forth. One of the things that made me chuckle is and this is again not a spoiler because it is a necessary trope for storytelling in the and there goes another creative driver, a necessary trope in lots of presentations of science. Speed things up. If you're looking at a detective show in which there's forensics, it's amazing how fast they get back those DNA results, right? Oh, by tomorrow morning we'll have the DNA. No, you won't. And similarly, there's this thing that Richard and I both chuckled at, where at one point in the story there is a big mass communications activity, and we were both giggling at, oh, wouldn't that be great if it was actually possible to communicate among all of these different countries? And you're sort of like, what was that wonderful movie? I almost said the wonderful movie where they blow up the White House, but there's too many.
Independence Day. Independence Day. Yeah, well, now that was a fun movie.
And that also had that same trope about almost instantaneous communication, where they send the code for attacking these huge city-sized alien spaceships by Morse code, and it spreads around the whole planet within a period of a couple hours, and you're sitting in your chair saying, yes, go, save the world. And anybody, you can't even get a message from, ABC to NBC in one city within a couple of hours using modern electronics, much less Morse code. At any rate, there's a comparable thing that I think both Richard and I chuckled at, that, would communications be that efficient? Ha ha.
Uh-huh. Well, I think ultimately I would give it maybe 2.5 to 3 out of 5. If you're thinking about going to see it as a skeptic, sure, go along and put your disbelief aside to enjoy it for the movie it is. But I think it's important for skeptics to see it from a cultural point of view with the whole disclosure hype, which I don't know how many more years that's got in it. Maybe a couple, who knows?
It is an empirically determinable thing whether or not this movie increases or has no effect upon the public's attitude toward either government conspiracies or the existence of alien visitation. We don't know. It's possible that who knows, people will be like me and many skeptics who will just go to it because it's a fun movie. And geez, nobody does this sort of thing better than Spielberg. I mean, nobody creates the kinds of tension that he does with chase scenes but also humanizing the events that are taking place. So who knows whether the public in general would just say, hey, this is a fun popcorn movie, it's great summertime, and
That's it.
who would not want to see a Spielberg movie in the summer, sort of. Or maybe it will deepen this, alas, unfortunate enthusiasm that we seem to be increasing in our general populace, both for conspiracies, especially governmental ones, and also for the idea of alien visitation. We just don't know at this point. I would give this a higher grade because I had a lot of fun with this movie. I would give this a 4, easily. 4 out of 5. So
There we are.
yeah. But then, I've already confessed to being to having very poor taste in movies and liking far more movies than most people do. But I think I agree with you, Richard. I think skeptics should see it so that they know what the public is looking at.
High praise from Eugenie Scott. Well, Jeannie, thank you very much. That was an interesting little conversation. We've come to a halt. Where are we? Oh, we're coming on to the express lane. Is that right?
We're not going. That costs money, and I'm too cheap. Right. No, we're still boogieing down the East Bay toward Hayward, and things. It's the traffic as usual. It stops and starts. Thank you, audience, for putting up with our creative drivers. The occasional shrieks of dismay from Richard and I as things have happened which we did not anticipate.
We'll have to do some more reviews, Jeannie, maybe. We can both see movies in our countries and hook up. Who knows, we can review Supergirl next or something like that.
If you want to go into real fantasy, we could have a lot of fun with Supergirl.
Thanks, Jeannie. And joining me now on the line via Zoom from all over the planet, probably other planets, we have the one and only Susan Gerbic. Hello, Susan.
Hi, Richard.
The one and only Rob Palmer. Hello, Rob.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. And the one and only giggling Adrienne Hill.
Oh,
She's giggling.
You found me out. Hey, everybody.
I found you out. I'm here to talk about what I found was one of the highlights of the recent SciCon in Buffalo, New York, was the Sunday morning. And they used to be called the Sunday
papers.
Papers, thank you, the Sunday papers. Now we're calling them the Sunday Speakers. Susan, why don't you kick off and tell us a little bit about that?
Well, because Stephen Hupp decided to have a poster session, it was getting very confusing when people would say Sunday papers when we're going to have Sunday posters. And we don't ask them to make a paper anymore. And that was another thing. They were supposed to write a paper to be able to get into the speaking slot. So we didn't want to have that anymore. Rob and I made the decision we're not going to make them write a paper. So it was getting just confusing. So we decided to change it to SciCon Sunday Speakers.
SciCon Sunday Skeptical Splendid Speakers. Rob, what's the whole idea about having people give a presentation on the Sunday of the convention anyway?
Well, it's a long-running tradition. As it was just mentioned, it used to be called the Sunday morning paper session. Susan, how long has that been going on for? Susan,
well, it used to happen at TAM. It was at TAM for years. So it's been going on in the skeptical community for quite a while. It's common in a lot of academic conferences.
Right, and which a paper is generally involved, right? And previously, the hurdle was that you had to submit a paper worthy of publication in Skeptical Inquirer as the first hurdle. So since they often did not actually publish those papers. And a lot of people probably say, oh, I'm not going to do that. And they just want to give a talk. We remove that constraint. So that is why we did it. And the idea is to give, fresh voices a chance to speak on the so-called big stage. As I mentioned in our little promo the day before, several very well-known people have gotten their start in the skeptical movement, including Stephen Hupp as a Sunday speaker, Sunday paper he did, right? And now he runs the whole kit and caboodle. And Susan Gerbic also was a Sunday papers presenter.
And so is Adrienne Hill.
And Rob Palmer. When you removed the paper qualification to speak, did you find that there was an increase in the number of people applying? Because I know that was a problem before.
Yes. Well, it might have been because Rob and I were voluntold to take over the Sunday session. And Rob and I, in discussion, said, we're getting rid of that. And it was, Rob and I were a little more aggressive about advertising, that we were doing this. So it's hard to say if it was just the paper being removed or if it was because Rob and I were in charge of that. And we're very social. We know a lot of people. We were really talking it up everywhere we could. So it's hard to say. But I think that was a hurdle that shouldn't have been there.
And I know you're good at voluntolding people to speak too, or to apply. So that
I'm
helps.
voluntolding people all the time. That seems to be one of my special powers, is voluntolding. People run when they see me coming, put it this way.
First was Sammy Schuster.
Right.
Pre-bunking through parody, the Holistic Quantum Activation Art Expo.
It was amazing. It was so good.
The second was Timothy Redmond, Building Our Ideological Immunity. Then John Michael talked about engaging constructively with people who believe in the paranormal. Pamela Brunskill, Teaching News Literacy. And finally, you're about to mention Coleman Watts, what skeptics can learn from conspiracy theories.
And he had a completely different take on how to present as well. In fact, he included live streaming of his talks. It was quite, I guess the kids would say, meta. Because
the kids would say meta, absolutely.
He pointed his smartphone at the audience, and then you see it playing up on the big screen. And
that will be his video. He's going to make a video of that.
It was like that scene out of Spaceballs where they suddenly come to the part of the movie where it's right now, and they're looking at the camera and looking back. And
it was great.
I wonder if that's where he got that idea.
It was really well done. And what I also noticed about all the talks is they were taught really about communication and empathy and being able to talk to other people and how to do it. There was a whole mix of ways of being empathetic towards people who get sucked into pseudoscience and how to maybe help them come out of it. So I thought that theme was really good.
I thought it was a really great way to end off what I thought was a terrific conference. It wasn't like, oh, here's something at the end for you anyway. It was a really important part of the conference. And I think the people who stayed on, like I did, were well rewarded. And we look forward to more Sunday talks, Sunday speakers in the future.
Mm-hmm. So you've seen all four of my talks.
I have.
So you've seen all four of my talks. That means you're the only person probably besides Susan that could say that.
I was going to say that Susan Gerbic is sure annoying. She's always telling people what to do.
I know. But you were right. I mean, you also have this thing. Don't book your flights before Monday morning because we have the group breakfast. It's a big social event when it comes to Susan.
It really is. It is all about socializing because I think these conferences, as I've always said, you show up because of the talks, who the speakers are going to be, and you go, wow, so-and-so is going to be speaking. And then you find out that it's really about the community, and you return because of the friendships you've made and the conversations. You return for the socialization, and that is something that I think finally, Barry Carr, when he ran CSICon, of course he got that. But now that we have Stephen Hupp, I think we're on a whole different level. He's really got that. He understands that the socialization aspect is probably just as important as the speakers that are there.
Oh, by the way, another thing I'd like to mention is the wonderful photos that were taken by Carl with a K, the official photographer for SciCon. You could see him running around. He got some amazing shots of the speakers as well as us attendees. He did a great job. And
he was like everywhere. He was everywhere all at once.
He was. So just a shout out to Carl with a K.
Yes, great photographs. Well, everybody, Susan Gerbic and Rob Palmer and Adrienne Hill, thanks for this roundup. And folks, yes, next time you go to a SciCon, and you will go to a SciCon, I hope, stay for the Sunday morning speakers. It's well worth it. But for now, thank you, everybody.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Nice seeing you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Skeptic Zone podcast, and thank you to those friends and supporters who support the show every week via PayPal, Patreon, or Buy Me a Coffee. Isn't that true, Ross Blotcher?
That is absolutely true. Those are stellar individuals.
They are. They're the best people. Good to see you.
Oh, great to see you too. It's been, well, not very long. We saw each other at SciCon in Buffalo, New York, and here we are on the other side of the country.
Yeah. This is Skeptic Hal. And what a great day it's been so far. It's about halfway through. You're giving a talk soon.
Yes, I'll be giving a talk on The Music Man, the musical from 1962, one that I grew up watching over and over and over. And they were asking for a talk about misinformation. And you have this compelling con man in the person of Professor Harold Hill. And in the span of the film, he uses pretty much every confidence scheme that you can to take advantage of people's well-intentions. And I thought it was just kind of a masterclass in sort of watching out for con men.
Excellent. Okay, there's the clue, folks. If you watch that movie again, keep your eye out for the cons and the scams. Anyway, we better sneak back into the other room. The afternoon sessions are just underway. But for now, thank you for listening to The Skeptic Zone. And this is Richard Saunders and Ross Blotcher signing off from Oakland, California.
Toodaloo.
You've been listening to the Skeptic Zone podcast. Please visit our website at www.skepticzone.tv for episodes and show notes with links going back to 2008. You can follow the Skeptic Zone on Facebook, X, TikTok and YouTube by clicking the links at our homepage, together with links to support the show financially via Patreon or PayPal. The Skeptic Zone is an independent production. The views and opinions expressed by our guests are not necessarily those of the Skeptic Zone podcast or any other skeptical organisation.
Yeah. By the way, Rob, you can't hear this on the podcast.
I'm used to doing that as we end our RFR show.
Do you happen to have a dice with you, Susan?
Ooh.
I just happen to have a Squaring the Strange die.
All right, let's do it. You can conduct it, Susan.
So this is six-sided, right, Susan?
This is a six-sided die.
Is there a special name for a six-sided die?
A die. I don't know.
A cube.
It's a Squaring the Strange die, and their little logo is on one side where the one would be. So I don't know. Maybe this is weighted a certain way. Or...
Is it this one? Is it this one?
Got one too, Rob. How did you
have
get
one too.
I thought I was a special one. I buy their Skeptic Crate. So
I do too, but it was too expensive for her to be able to mail it. I was very sad. I understand. I totally understand.
No, totally. So we're going to do the dice game. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll the die 3 times. And if you're very, very good, I will roll it a 4th time. And you guys are going to use your psychic prediction powers, which I know you have. And you're going to tell me what numbers you think are going to come up. And we'll do it one at a time. So what do you guys think? Rob, Adrienne, Richard, what number do you pick for the first roll?
Well, I would go with a 5, but that number is always taken by somebody else. So I'll go with a 4.
Well, you could go with the 5. It's a winning number.
No, I'll go with a 4.
I was going to say I'm psychic because I can always predict what Susan wants to predict. I'm going to pick a 6.
I'm going to pick a 1.
Okay, I'm going to pick a 5. Here we go.
Wow, what a shock.
It's a 3. You guys all suck.
Nobody's psychic yet.
Rob, you didn't say 3, did you?
No, he said 4.
So there's 4 of us here, and we're all picking different numbers off a 6-sided die.
Yeah, 6
and
chances.
That was pretty bad. That was pretty bad.
Gosh, you guys really suck. I think we should go back and redo that the Australian Psychic Prediction Project again. Because what's the Saunders number?
11%, yeah.
Okay, well, there's no 11 on here, so let's go again. Adrienne, what do you want for the second roll?
I want squaring the strange. In other words, 1.
Okay, Rob?
I'm sticking with my number, 4.
Okay, Richard?
6.
Ooh, you and I reversed.
I'm going to go with a 5. Here we go. It's a 3.
Whoa!
You
Good
guys
things
still
happen
suck.
in 3s.
That's still awful.
Bad things happen in 3.
Boy, you guys are really awful at this.
All right, could this dice be a loaded die? I'm gonna roll my squaring the die.
Okay,
it's a 3. There's something wrong with these die.
Okay, wait. No, go ahead. Let's let you roll for the last roll. I'm going to pick a 5.
I'm going to pick a 2 because nobody's picked a 2 yet.
I'm going to pick a 3.
Rob, what do you want?
I'm sticking with 4.
We'll roll it.
Oh, I'm doing it?
Yeah.
Yep.
My die might be a problem.
It's a 4.
Oh, Richard. Or no, it's Rob.
I finally won by rolling my own die.
There you go. I don't know. I'm suspicious.
All right, let's do the supplementary. Do you have a die there, Adrienne?
Yeah. It's 6-sided again. So what are we picking? Susan 5. Okay, next.
4.
Hey, I have to use my powers to influence it happening, so I have to say predict a 5.
Okay.
I'm going to predict a 2.
A 2. I'm going to go with a 3, just because good things happen in 3s, as we've seen.
Yeah, I was sticking with my 4. I got it once. Go for twice.
Here it comes.
6.
Richard? That was Richard's?
Nope. Nobody's.
No.
So the winning numbers are 3, 4, and 6.
Not very winning for us today.
No, the only one that's sort of psychic is Rob today. He got 1 of the 4.
Tried really hard, and I got really close to it because I got a 4. There was a 4 and a 6.
Yeah, you're always
3.
in between.
We were really close to getting that 5.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.